Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mark Fitzpatrick from the Tiger Club of Kansas City. It is Tuesday, January 17th. Very special guest today, Royals Executive Vice President and General Manager JJ Picollo. JJ, thank you so much for coming.
No problem. Thank you.
You've been with the club for 16 years, but this is your first year going into spring training in your new position. How does your role change?
Well, you have to make the final decision. You know, that's been the most interesting part, which of course you know that to be the case, but you start to realize how difficult that can be because you get a lot of opinions, you have a lot of differing opinions, so ultimately somebody's got to make that call, and that's been the biggest difference for me.
You've been busy in the off-season hiring new people. Matt Quatraro as the new manager, Brian Sweeney, pitching coach, were the two biggest hires. What did you see in those guys that made you want to hire them?
Well, first, the way that Matt communicates, it's a very easy conversation, and just his thoughtfulness and his answers, his ability to understand what players are about and what makes them tick. I think he's just a great connector of people, so that really stood out. And then Brian's very similar. Brian, they both had great experiences in Cleveland under Tito Francona, so that's a nice thing. But with Brian, he's got an excitement about him, a knowledge of what it was like to pitch in the major leagues, but also a fresh appreciation of today's game, with data and technology. So it's a great blend. They do have some history together. Never really worked, on the same team, but they know each other well. So I think there's going to be a great compatibility between the two.
Last year, tough season, but you had as many as 7 rookies in the lineup at one time going into this season. Do you feel like the everyday lineup is pretty well set, or is still a lot to be decided in spring training?
There's some guys that are going to be in the lineup every day. They may be playing different positions from day to day, but obviously Salvi behind the plate is something that he's going to be the backstop for us for another few years. But then you look at Vinny Pasquantino; he's done a great job entering that position with Michael Massey and Bobby Witt up the middle, and then Nicky Lopez that can help. There's some stability in the outfield. We have a lot of depth in the outfield, which is a great thing. But so far, the way we're going about it, we think we have enough options with our position players. We don't feel the real need to go out and get another player. If something falls our way that we think is a good acquisition, we'll certainly look at it.
Pitching this last year was a struggle at times. Brady Singer, I think, goes in as your ace this year. You signed Lyles, you signed Yarbrough. Put you on the spot. Who's your starting rotation as of today?
Well, I think I think with Lyles and Singer, they definitely will be in the rotation. And then you look at Daniel Lynch, and then after that, I think it's competition between Keller and Yarbrough, Heasley and Bubic. I think that there's positions that need to be won. And when you're deep and you have competition like that, hopefully it brings the best out in guys. And whoever ends up in that 4 and 5 spot, it has earned that right. With the flexibility that a Yarbrough or Heasley or somebody like that, we know they can go to the bullpen. So there's some depth there that's necessary.
Bullpen, talk about Scott Barlow had a great year last year. Dylan Coleman, the second half of the season was fantastic. There's one guy I want to ask you about, Richard Lovelady, left-hander, hurt all of last year. He signed a minor league contract, but he's on the 40-man roster. What are your hopes for him this year?
Yeah, well, get back to where he was prior to the injury. He didn't have the greatest success in the major leagues, but it was such a brief amount of time in the major leagues. But you look at what he did in AAA, it's a different arm slot from a left-hander. He kind of jumps at you a little bit, and the left-handed hitters are not comfortable against him. He'll run it up there, 94, 95, so it's a power left-hander. We think he could be a solid contributor throughout this year, and that's why we brought him back.
One other question I want to ask you. You go into spring training with a young team, a lot of still to be decided. This is also a year of a World Baseball Classic. You're going to have some guys leaving for a while. How does that affect the evaluations?
The position players we don't worry about as much. However, it's a new coaching staff, and they need to see these players as much as they can. But the position players, we know they'll get their at-bats. They'll be ready to play 9 innings come opening day. It's really the pitchers that we have to keep an eye on. So Brady's pitching for the team, for Team USA. There's a chance Carlos Hernandez and Angel Zerpa and Max Castillo pitch for the Venezuelan team. That gets a little bit more uncomfortable, but we still have 10 days at the end of spring training when they get back, if they go to the finals, that we can have a good feel for where they are and how ready they are to start the season at the big league level. So there's ways to make up for it, but it's less than ideal in a lot of different ways.
It's going to be an interesting spring training, and we get underway in about 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, not soon enough.
So first spring training game, February 24th.
February 24th.
All right. JJ, thank you. It was just great to have you. Wish you
Thank
best
you.
of luck season. Go Royals.
All right.
Hey, folks, next week, Steve Bieser, head baseball coach at Missouri. In 2 weeks, we had Jeff Passan. So it is a very busy baseball month here in January at the Tiger Club. Make sure you come down and see us at the Westport Flea Market. And for more information and for membership, go to kctigerclub.com.